Today, we're going to dive into a pretty old story, a parable that has a surprisingly powerful message for our modern lives. It's a story that might just flip the script on how you think about happiness. Yeah, we're talking about the parable of the unhappy crow. But before we really get into it, let me ask you something, straight up. Are you, right now, truly satisfied with your life? It's kind of a heavy question, I know, but it's right at the heart of the story we're about to explore.
Okay, so let's meet our main character. Our story kicks off with a crow, but this isn't just any old crow, you know? This guy is completely consumed by this deep, deep unhappiness with who he is and his place in the world.
And we're not just talking about him having a bad day. He was genuinely convinced that everyone hated him, that people were always shooing him away. He felt totally unloved, and he was sure his life was just, well, miserable.
I mean, his despair got so bad that one day he went to a wise monk and said something absolutely gut-wrenching. He said, "Death is better than such a life." Wow. Talk about a powerful statement of just how much pain he was in.
And here's where we see the big disconnect. The monk offers him this timeless wisdom, right? He says, learn to be happy in whatever condition you are in. But the crow, he's not ready to hear that. He's got a completely different plan. He wants to be a swan.
Now the monk is pretty clever. He sees that the crow is just fixated on this idea and that lecturing him isn't going to work. So instead of dismissing him, he sends him on a little quest, a journey, to figure out the truth for himself.
So the monk gives him a deal. He says, "Okay, you want to be a swan? I can make that happen. But first, you have to go find the swan, then the parrot, and finally the peacock. And you have to ask each of them one simple question: are you happy?"
So off he goes. First stop, the swan. He finds this beautiful, elegant swan, and he's just thinking, this is it. This has to be the happiest bird in the world. But the swan's reality? Totally different. The swan says, happy? No way. I'm just plain white. I don't have any beautiful colors.
In fact, the swan points the crow in a new direction. It tells him, you know who must be really happy? The parrot. He's got all the colors. And just like that, the quest continues.
The crow finds the parrot, and yeah, it's dazzling. He thinks, okay, for real this time, this has to be the one. But surprise, surprise, there's a dark side. The parrot is beautiful, sure, but it lives in constant fear. Its beauty makes it a target, always worried it's going to be caught and locked in a cage.
And this brings us to the grand finale of the crow's journey. He's still searching, and he finally makes his way to the magnificent peacock, the bird that he is absolutely certain is the very definition of perfection.
He finds the peacock in a zoo, with hundreds of people staring at it in awe. The crow is positive he's finally found the answer. But the peacock reveals this terrible, terrible irony. Its stunning beauty is the very reason it's a prisoner, trapped for everyone to look at. And this, right here, this is the turning point. The peacock says something that just blows the crow's mind. He says, "I've been watching all the birds in the zoo and I realized something. You, the crow, you're the only one who isn't kept in a cage." The peacock actually envies the crow's freedom. Can you imagine hearing that? This one single sentence completely shatters the crow's entire way of thinking. It's this huge aha moment where he finally starts to understand the value of what he had all along. So he flies back to the monk, a totally changed bird. He's seen firsthand that the things he thought were perfection were actually the source of all this suffering for the other birds. And for the first time in his life, he was truly, genuinely happy just to be a crow. He tells the monk, "I don't want to be anything else."
So what does this ancient story really mean for us here and now? It all boils down to one incredibly important idea: the danger of comparing ourselves to others.
You see, the crow fell into what we can call the comparison trap. It's that habit of looking at other people's lives, especially today on our social media feeds, and assuming they've got it so much better. It's a vicious cycle, and it is a guaranteed recipe for unhappiness.
So, the lessons here are pretty simple, but they're not always easy to live by. True joy doesn't come from wishing you had someone else's life. It comes from appreciating what's already yours. Look, there's always going to be someone with more and someone with less. That's just a fact of life. The happiest people are the ones who are satisfied with what they have, because comparison, as they say, is the thief of joy.
And that leaves us with one final thing to think about. The crow had freedom, but he couldn't even see it until someone else pointed it out to him. So the question for you is,
What's the freedom, the hidden gift in your own life that you might be completely overlooking right now?